Alright. Yo, peeps, what's up? It was kind of a slow week for sports last week. But it's kind of ramping up now. The Combine, NFL Combine is this week. I don't really care. I mean, there was a time where a couple of years I watched it. It's like, oh, okay, what's going on here? What's going on here? Yeah, there's a bunch of guys in, shirts and shorts running around doing pretty much non-football stuff. A lot of. I mean, it's gotten to the point where a lot of coaches aren't even showing up because they're like, you know what? We've got tape. We can see what the guy does or whatever. I mean, I get it. It's not just football skills. There's also the interview process, and they do those weird intelligence tests that they do. It's not an exact science. It's not. It's kind of a. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's a crapshoot between the team, who you want, who you don't. I mean, look at the Chicago Bears. They're getting ready to trade away the guy that they picked in the first round 4 years ago because they had the first pick this year and this one guy coming, or just a couple guys coming out that everybody wants. I mean, what happened to the guy that they picked in the first round 4 years ago? He didn't work out, and why is that? It's I always find it interesting when teams trade up to get a quarterback. Because and sometimes their argument is, well, next year's quarterback draft, quarterback class is not going to be as good as this one, so we need to get our guy now. And I'm thinking, well, wait a second. There's always going to be a quarterback that everybody wants every year. Just because you don't know who they are now doesn't mean next year they're going to like Jaden Daniels. Good example. Jaden Daniels won the Heisman Trophy this year, and he's projected to be either the #1 or #2 pick. But he wasn't always on the radar to everybody 2-3 years ago. It's just like all of a sudden he came into his own being, and now he's like, whoa, superstar. Quarterbacks are always, there's always going to be a quarterback there. So trading up to get him because you think next year's class, I just find that interesting. And once again, you don't know. You can trade up and get a quarterback. You don't want to be the Mitch Trubisky or the Zach Wilson or whatever. So it's like, you don't know. I mean, come on. Let's face it, we've all seen the video of Tom Brady at the Combine basically looking like the Stay Puft Marshmallow guy because he's white and doughy, running the 40-yard dash. Nobody cares about that now. Does anybody care about that now? Nobody cares that he didn't have a rocket for an arm. We'll see. But yeah, I'm not going to watch the Combine this year. Basically, the more important thing is the draft, to finally see when it all comes to fruition or destruction for the teams that are picking at the 1 through 10. We'll see. All right, so one of the subjects has kind of reared its ugly head again, so to speak, is a whole NIL and transfer portal thing, and they are kind of tied together. There's some talk about reform because it's kind of, well, let's face it, like the commercial says, it's getting out of hand. It's a mess. Just to recap, the NIL is basically a two-headed snake, right? You have the one where players are being able to cash in on their name, image, and likeness, so they can go and get money from the sales of their jerseys, or they can go out and go to Joe's used car lot and do a commercial and get paid for that. Where in the past, you couldn't really do that. And this all pretty much stems from the 2011 incident where Ohio State players were trading their jerseys for tattoos. And they got sanctioned, and coach ended up quitting, and it's just like, so now it's like, okay, now players can get money from their name, image, and likeness. The other head of the snake is the boosters. Boosters from these universities to come and basically, because the college can't pay the player, but the boosters can pay the player and say, hey, I'll give you $1 million if you come and play for my alma mater. Well, okay, that's fine, except for the only problem with that is that what we're finding out is that players can jump from college to college if they don't like where they're at. Now, you can only use the transfer portal once to do this, but I mean, if a booster gives a player, some kid, $1 million, and then the kid plays there for 1 year, and then all of a sudden he says, oh, you know what, I don't like it here, I'm going to get the coach is leaving, I'm out of here, I'm going to go someplace else. Well, now that booster just paid a whole bunch of money for some kid who's going to another place, and another booster in the other place is going to give him some money too. So he can just jump around willy-nilly, go over and take the money and run. And so I think a lot of people are finally catching on to that and saying, well, wait a second, we can't have that happening. So they're talking about giving players contracts. Like a coach. Coaches can move from college to college, but they're on contracts, so they either have buyout clauses, or they don't get paid, or they get fired, or whatever. So now it's like they're going to have to start giving contracts to kids. The problem is, who's going to be negotiating the contracts? And that's what they're trying to find out, how to fix that. But yeah, I mean, let's face it. The student-athlete thing, I mean, the only student-athletes that are actually student-athletes are the guys that are sitting on the bench that aren't going to be playing. They're just, you know, because some of these teams have up to 100 people on the team. But most of them are the guys you always see standing on the sideline, and they got the jersey on, and they're wearing jeans or shorts or whatever. Hey, they ain't never playing. They're student-athletes. Of course, they also don't have scholarships, most of them. So, you know, but the ones that are the athletes, they're jumping from college to college because they're trying to find if they can make their way to the NFL. And we all know, what's that, 1% of college students actually make it to the NFL. But, you know, there's a whole lot of, you know, dancing of sugar plums in your head when you're, you know, a young kid playing football. I mean, because otherwise, if you are actually a student, you're not going to be jumping from school to school to school. Why would you do that? That's crazy, because you're going for a degree. So yeah, this whole student-athlete thing, that's out the window. That's done. So yeah, so NIL, transfer portal, they're trying to fix it. We'll see. Alright, so basketball season is in full swing. You got the NBA teams all kind of in the home stretch, jockeying for position to get into the playoffs, trying to get out of the playoff game, play-in game? Trying to get out of the play-in thing. And then you got, you know, March Madness right around the corner. This is about the time of year where I start kind of paying attention to the teams, okay? Because up until this point, there's a lot of going on. Number one team, they lose. Number two team loses. All these teams, they're all, once again, jockeying. They don't know who's who. It's way more open this year than I think it's ever been before, where any team can beat any team at any time. I mean, I know that's kind of a cliche thing, but it's true, particularly this year, because you don't really know. There's no real clear consensus on who's the number one teams. I'm just trying to figure out. I wonder how many actual upsets when the tournament comes around, March Madness, when the tournament comes around, how many actual upsets there's going to be. Oh, sure, there are going to be favorites, people who are favored in games, but are they really truly upsets? Because it'll be like, you know, oh, this team beat that team. Okay, saw that coming. Okay, that's not a shocker, not a shocker at all. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting to see what happens this year. How many upsets there will be, and who will be storming the court. How many court storming things will we see? Since now, apparently, storming the court is like becoming a hot topic because, well, that guy from Duke got hurt last week, and Caitlin Clark got hurt the week before, or whatever. So now everybody's saying, "Well, we got to stop this. We have to stop this from going on." There's a lot of people who have up in arms about, you know, how are we going to stop this. But my whole thing about the court storming thing is, how do you know? How do you know there's going to be a court storming incident? Because usually you don't know until the last, what, maybe 1 minute, 30 seconds of a game. And so how do you plan for that? Because people are talking about, well, we need to hire more security. And hire more security and put security around the court so people can't run on it or have a runoff clock or whatever. I'm like, but how do you know? So you hire all this security and the happenstance that you guys will pull the upset off? How does that work? Also, I mean, yeah, some people got hurt, but I mean, as much as it happens, you don't really hear about people getting hurt all that much. Are there things you can do to keep that from happening, that people getting hurt? Sure. People talk about, you know, having a runoff clock or having a contingency plan of getting your players to a safe place or whatever. But once again, the thing is, how do you plan for something that you don't even know is going to happen? All right, moving on to the NBA. So last week, there was a game between the Pistons and the Knicks. And the ending was like just crazy. Balls flying, people jumping, everything's going on, and dropping balls and whatever, missing shots. But anyways, at the end, you see two players going for the basketball, and the one player kind of runs into the other player, and you know, knocks him off the ball. It wasn't called as a foul. The game went on. So, first of all, the coach of the Pistons afterwards was calling it the worst call of the year. The worst call of the year. This is the worst call of the year, bar none. But I always laugh at that because it seems like there's a whole lot of worst calls of the year as the season goes on. But, you know, the worst call of the year is kind of becoming like the crime of the century. The crime of the century. It's like, well, okay, a century is like 100 years, so just wait a few years, there'll be a new crime of the century. We just keep on, you know, and then there'll be another one. So the worst call of the year, okay, for this week. The worst call of the week for the year. The other thing was, I'm hearing all these pundits, and they're looking and going, oh, that player rugby tackled that other player. I'm like, where is that coming from? There was no wrapping of the arms around anybody. Nobody was like, you know, throwing to the ground. There was no tackle going on. I've watched the replays several times myself, and to me, it just was like two players going for the ball and trying to get the ball at the same time. It was supposedly, they said it was an obvious loose ball foul. Apparently it wasn't obvious because the referee was standing right there. He almost got ran into while it was happening. So there was no tackling going on, so quit saying, oh, he tackled him. Quit saying that. He didn't tackle him. He ran into him. They ran into each other. So quit saying that. Quit overblowing things like that. You know, there's a lot of fouls in basketball that happen all the frickin' time. I mean, I can watch one thing happen, not a foul, is called. I can see the same thing happening, foul called. Same exact things. Why? It's becoming subjective. It's subjective now. And then you get these bougie fouls, you know. Once again, look up the word bougie. What it really means is basically a long, slender instrument that you put into an orifice to, you know, whatever. Yeah, you get these bougie fouls that are like, what? Why is that? Just saying. I watch a lot of basketball, and I see a lot of fouls that aren't called, and I see a lot of fouls that are called. And you know what? That's just the nature of the game. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So, but to call it the worst call of the year, yeah, not so much. Another subject that was brought up last week was who is going to be the new face of the league in the NBA? Because currently people look at Steph Curry, LeBron James, maybe Giannis, Joel maybe. So they're saying, well who's going to be, because these guys are getting old, so who's going to be the new face, the young kids coming up? So as I just showed you, there's not just one new face of the NBA. There's going to be several faces of the NBA. So who's the face of the league? There isn't no face of the league. It's faces. Okay, so put a little S on the end there, and quit trying to make somebody the face of the league. It just kind of, it's one of those things. It's like when you and your girlfriend have a, it's, oh, that's our song. That's our song. But how do you get to it's our song? Well, you can't really force it. Kind of just happens, right? It just kind of, oh, wow, that's our song. You know, so the face of the league will be the face of the league. It'll just happen. It won't be like, well, you're it now. All right, so because this is basically a sports-based show, and I know we talk a lot about football and basketball, but I have some exciting news for you. We're going to talk about golf. The first thing is, so there's this lunar landing thing that supposedly was going to land on the moon this past week. I heard somebody saying that this was akin to somebody hitting a golf ball in New York and have it land a hole-in-one in Los Angeles. I'm pretty sure, last time I checked anyways, that golf balls don't have like thrusters on them, and they don't have like a command center basically tracking their every move and guiding them. Also, there's that whole gravity thing. I mean, unless somebody's turning off the gravity as soon as that golf ball's hit on Earth, yeah, you got that going on. Now, apparently the lunar lander landed on its side, tipped on its side, so it couldn't really do. So it didn't make the hole-in-one. But yeah, comparing a golf ball being hit from New York to LA with a rocket ship going and a lunar going through space where there's no gravity, I don't think that's the same thing. I don't think that's the same difficulty. But whatever. I'm no rocket scientist, obviously. But it just seems to me that was a little far-fetched. The other thing that happened this past week, there was this thing called The Match. Had Rory McIlroy was in it, and this guy, his name's Max Homa. I'm not really that familiar with him, but apparently he's like the 8th ranked golfer on the PGA Tour. It doesn't mean he's the 8th ranked golfer in the world, because apparently they are leading out the people that are on the LIV Tour, right? So I'm pretty sure he's not, you know, ranked ahead of, you know, John Rahm or Brian DeChambeau, you know, and that guy from, what's that guy, Cameron Smith from Australia, dude. So, but anyways, and then they had 2 female golfers in there. I'm not really familiar with female golfers because I don't really watch women's golf. So it was kind of like, you think the match, you'd have some more well-known names to bring in, you know, viewers. Hell, you got that thing between the match where you have like people like Tom Brady and Steph Curry and who was it, Josh Allen, whatever, you know, playing. That's way more entertaining than me, even though they're hitting golf balls all over the freaking place. But it's still way more entertaining than watching this co-ed golf thing, which I'm not down with at all. So, you know, come on, guys. You know, get some, you know, real names in there in the match. You know, people that we know. So I found out the other day, I did not know this, that you know that drink, the Arnold Palmer, where you have like half iced tea and half lemonade. Well, apparently, if you add vodka to it, it becomes a John Daly. I did not know that. I don't drink vodka, so, yeah, it's kind of interesting to find out. John Daly, I thought it was kind of funny. Because, you know, John Daly is, you know, renowned for his drinking the beer on the golf course and smoking the cigarettes and everything. That's pretty awesome. And speaking of vodka, so Kettle One Vodka has a commercial out right now. And part of the commercial shows this, I'm assuming some kind of rich guy on the deck of his yacht, and he's in a robe, and he's hitting golf balls into the ocean. I thought that we knew by now that that's not cool. That's not cool, hitting golf balls into the ocean, because it basically messes with the marine life. So why they have a commercial showing this? Maybe they, you know, maybe they didn't get the memo. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool, hitting golf balls into the ocean. Don't do it. So yeah, some golf news. Yay! So let's get into my shorts. I hate to keep bringing this up, but I don't know, but it just kind of really, this whole commercial with the biking family is just like, I'm still not sure what's going on there. First of all, obviously the family is on vacation, the real family, not the biking family, but the real family's on vacation. And the guy gets a call from his boss, I'm assuming, saying, you know, when are you going to get those TPS reports in or whatever. So first thing I think is, first of all, why isn't that guy's phone off? Or at least have blocked numbers so he doesn't get, you know, I mean, it's like, obviously, if something happening to a member of your family or something, you want to have the phone on. But you don't want your boss calling you in on vacation, so why isn't your phone blocked? I mean, and why is the coach, why is the boss being an asshole, calling you when he knows you're on vacation? It just doesn't sit right with me. I don't know why. Viking family, SUV, but they're not really a Viking family. And the boss is calling, and I don't know. Yeah. When I'm flipping through the channels on my TV, and I'm going through the menu and everything, and I see a thing on some sports channel, whatever, and it's saying, oh, this college playing this college. And it's like, oh, okay, let me check that out. But they don't tell you what sport it is or what gender it is. So you're thinking, oh wow, I'm going to go watch some basketball, men's basketball between UCLA and USC or whatever. And it's like, oh, you click on it, it's like, no, it's women's gymnastics. Can you please put that up in the little heading up there so I don't have to go click on it to find out what is going on or get all excited about it and then find out, oh, well, yeah. Or it's, you know, some kind of sport that I'm not interested in, and it's, you know, not something I'm interested in. So please, just differentiate there, saying, oh, this is women's volleyball, or it's, you know, men's basketball. Please, just, you know, give me that. So I'm watching this show the other day, and there's a part where the person has to defuse a bomb. And they're a bomb expert, so they're there and they're like ready to cut the blue wire, not the red wire, because the grounding wire is like green or whatever. I'm thinking, well, wait a second. Why do you have colored wires if you're making the bomb. I mean, wouldn't you want it to be, they don't know the colors if someone comes to defuse it? Because if you're making a bomb, you know, you can use all black wires for all I care, or those wires that have the dual colors, that are black and blue, or they're red and green, or whatever. I mean, you want to mess up the person defusing the bomb, right? So why would you make them the standard things? Oh yeah, this is your ground wire, and this is your... No, make them all the same color, so you can't figure out which wire to cut. It's got to be just the movies, right? Because if I'm making a bomb, I'm making all the wires the same color. As long as you got your little schematic out there, you know, and your little schematic, drawing or whatever, you know what wires are going to what wires. So why would you make them easy for the person defusing the bomb? Just saying. So last week there was this NASCAR race called the Ambetter 400. Really exciting. Ended up in a photo finish, and there was a lot of praise going around about, oh, this was a great race. I'm not really sure why. I mean, it was not like anybody planned, a photo finish between the three cars, but whatever. But anyways, Ambetter, for those who don't know, is they are tied in with the health insurance racket. Okay, the reason I know this is because they're the ones that charge me every month because I didn't sign up for Social Security, Medicare soon enough. So they charge me 1% of whatever it is, my Medicare, what do you call that, payment out. So why do they have a NASCAR race? Because most people watching the race are not affiliated with the health insurance program in a way that they have a choice of choosing Ambetter or not, because that's the insurance companies that choose them. So just curious about that. But yeah, send me a letter. For my $1.70, I'm on automatic payments. Don't they know that? So y'all know that I don't like to get into political stuff or legal stuff or whatever on the show, but since this is kind of a sports related thing, the Kansas City Chiefs signed the punter Matt Ariza to a contract this week. For those of you who don't know, Matt Ariza was the kid that came out of San Diego State, I believe. They call him the punt god because he's like really good at it. He was playing for the Buffalo Bills. He got signed for the Buffalo Bills, but before he could even play with them, he got accused of rape. So the Buffalo Bills ended up cutting him because they didn't want to deal with it because it was an ongoing thing. There was like lawsuits and counter lawsuits and all this other kind of stuff filed. And so, but now all the lawsuits were dropped. Defamation, never went to trial. He was never criminally charged with anything. So the Kansas City Chiefs are signing him to a contract, and there's a lot of uproar and thoughts about this. Some people are saying, well, why would the Kansas City Chiefs hire him with all this baggage going on? And I'm thinking, the reason he's got baggage is because somebody wasn't telling the truth. So I'm not going to say they lied, but they certainly weren't telling the truth. I mean, there's actually supposedly footage of him leaving this party before, whatever. I'm not saying, and there's going to be people saying, well, he got away with something. He got away with it. Kid has some money, he can buy himself out of that. But if you're going to go down that road and say, well, he got away with something, then you also have to go down the other road and say, well, this person was not telling the truth. So the fact that he has baggage is because something that, as far as the law is concerned and the court's concerned, never happened. So, and being a person who has been accused of doing something that I didn't do. It's kind of a little touchy on this thing. So, but yeah, it's just kind of sad that he has baggage at all. All right, that's it for this week's show. Subscribe, like, whatever you want to do, comment on YouTube. And as always, Jim Plunkett, Hall of Fame. Peace out.